Another thing that I did was I refused to do things that would make me uncomfortable. I refused to go to parties that would make me uncomfortable. I refused to deal with people that made me uncomfortable. Until today, till today, that feeling is still with me. That decision is still with me. If I deal with somebody the first time and they make me uncomfortable and they bring back that feeling of anxiety the first time we interact, I don't care what the circumstances are. I don't care if they've had a hard day because I have hard days too, and yet I make the conscious choice to be polite to everybody, to put people at ease, no matter how difficult it is for me. Social interactions have always been difficult for me. I've always felt uncomfortable in social situations. I don't know the right thing to say. I'm always tense, and yet I make the conscious effort to say the right thing, to say things that will put people at ease. So if somebody cannot be bothered to be polite with me, and they talk to me anyhow, and they treat me anyhow, or they say things and they're sarcastic when there's no need to be, or they claim to be your friend. Are you listening? They claim to be your friend, but they say bad things to you. They use foul language with you. They say bad things to you. They use foul language with you and on you. They use vulgar language on you, and they claim they are being familiar, and they claim that they are friendly towards you, so it should all be cool. And they make jokes and they make you the butt of their jokes, and they make backhanded comments, and you experience you gain things, or you win in life in some way, and they try to downplay it. They try to say things about it that would bring you down. People that do that are not your friends. And one of the things I did that has helped me till this very day is the moment I dealt with people, the moment I deal with anyone who treats me in a way that I do not feel okay with, I distance myself with them. Till today, I don't allow my friends to use me. You know the way you have friends and they're like, foolish girl, how are you? I don't do that. I don't play like that. I remember talking to somebody I just met a couple of years ago. Like, we just became friendly. We met at a convention type thing. We became friendly. We used to talk on the phone, obviously. We used to text and all of that. And this person, after some time, started using this kind of language. Like, oh, dummy. Oh, you're dumb. You're this, you're that. I told them, no, don't talk to me like that. And they were like, oh, what's the big deal? We're just chilling. We're just, like, we're friends. That's the way friends talk. I was like, yeah, maybe the friends my own friends don't talk to me like that. I don't allow my friends to talk to me like that. And they were like, oh, and then they wanted to know what happened. Obviously, I was not comfortable at the time talking about myself and my experiences that way. So I didn't really tell them. I just told them I had some bad experiences and I'm working on myself. And I don't allow, one of the things I do not allow, it's like one of my hard lines, my hard boundaries. My friends, nobody talks to me in a way that makes me uncomfortable, that makes me sad, that makes me down on myself. Because my self-esteem is already in the gutter. I'm trying to build my self-esteem. I don't need you to worsen it by saying bad things to me. That would make me now doubt myself. That would make my self-esteem go from the gutter into the soccer way. I don't need it. I don't need it. And if I would have you as a friend, or I would have only the friends that would talk to me in ways that would put me down further, then I would much rather have no friends at all. That was one of the things. That was one of the best things I ever did for myself. And I can tell you right now that if you decide to approach life a certain way, if you decide to make friends, only friends, and you decide to keep a boundary between you and the people you put around you, and not keep a boundary, but create a boundary around yourself, and you let people around you know that boundary, and you keep only people who respect your boundaries around you, then after some time, maybe it's the energy that you start giving out, maybe it's the universe. I don't know what it is, but you realize that the only kinds of people who will start coming around you are the people who already automatically observe that boundary. Like, they already automatically don't play like that. Do you understand what I mean? Like, I realized after some time the kinds of friends I started making, the kinds of people I started meeting that were just drawn to me and that I was drawn to were the kinds of people who don't use foul language, people who show respect to me, people who say kind things to me and I say kind things to them and I respect them in return. And they're just so kind and so nice and so like sweet, and they're not afraid of saying positive things to their friends in the way a lot of people are. Like, I don't know if it's this culture, but a lot of people are just afraid of saying positive things to their family members. They're afraid of saying positive, kind things to their friends because I don't know why. Because they are used to having only family and friends that say negative things. It's part of familiarity. I don't play like that. And so that's what I realized. And it's not just for myself, but for other people as well. Like, people have told me things like that. Like, when you desire a kind of friend, when you only want people around you who behave a certain way, then after some time, the kinds of people who start getting drawn to you are only the kinds of people who are that way, the way you like. And you realize that even the people that, once or twice, there might be some of those other kinds of people, but it will be very easy for you to distance yourself from them. Very, very easy. Like, it won't be as difficult as it used to be before. That was also the time I realized that making friends was a choice, and making friends is a very very important thing. It's a very very important thing because they influence your life in so many ways. They influence your physical health, your emotional health. They influence your present and your future. They influence so many things. They influence choices you make. They influence kinds of people you put around you. They influence kinds of people you get into relationships with. You've learned so much. So making friends is a huge thing. And it's the only kind of relationship that A, you have for yourself alone, and B, that you choose for yourself alone. So it's not something that you can do in a haphazard manner. It's not something that can just be, just happenstance. You have to be deliberate. You have to be intentional about the kinds of friends you keep. One thing, I did two more things. One other thing I decided on was that I was not going to date anyone. Now, I'm not going to go into detail about it, but up to that point, one of the ways in which I masked, one of the ways in which I camouflaged was to date people, to go on dates. At that point in time, that was still when I was that 21, in my final year, I told myself I was not going to go on dates anymore because I was not interested in going on dates. I was not interested in talking to anybody. I did not like them the way I knew I was supposed to like somebody if I wanted to date them. And I knew that I'd been lying to myself. And remember, I told myself I was not going to lie to myself about the way I felt anymore. Well, that was one of the things I had to stop. I had to stop. And the person I was dating slash talking to at the time made it so easy because one time we were out on one of them dates, and then I discovered something about him that was like, I discovered he had been lying to me about something really important. I did not feel as sad as I knew I was supposed to feel. I did not feel as heartbroken as I knew I was supposed to feel. I didn't even feel disappointed. It was like a part of me was happy that, oh, thank God, now I have an excuse. So I was like, we're done. But then I was like, well, what if like I keep playing like this and I keep dating people just because I know that people expect me to go on dates and to talk to men and all of that, just because of that. What if I keep doing that and I end up getting really hurt or I end up hurting someone else? Like, what if that happens? So I was like, I'm not going to play like that anymore. And I told myself I am never, ever, ever going to talk to somebody or go on a date with somebody or have a relationship with somebody until I genuinely feel the urge to do so. So if I do not feel the urge, if I do not feel strongly attracted to somebody in that way, if I do not feel like I want to actually date somebody or have a relationship with somebody, if I do not feel strongly attracted to them in that way, or even attracted to them at all, then I'm not going to do it. Because I've been going on dates with people, I've been talking to people, forcing myself to do all this relationship stuff with people who I never even felt an inkling of attraction for. Like, can you beat that? I used to talk to them because I knew people would wonder what was going on with me. Like, even at some point during that time when I was in school, people would like when I would stop the whole dating and talking to guy things, I would just want to take a break. People would be like, what's going on? Like, Zane, you've not been like going out on dates or talking to anybody. Like, what's going on? Yo, society, we put so much pressure on ourselves, like so much pressure, and it's ridiculous the things we pressure ourselves about. It's ridiculous. And I'll be like, oh, nothing. I'm just going, like, I'm just taking a break. But then that would tell me, okay, so it's time to, so that the next person that comes along, you like them, you don't like them. All of them, you don't like them. You don't like them. Let me just, because I'm being like vulnerable and raw here. You don't like them. But you'd be like, okay, yeah, sure, he's nice looking and he has this nice car, he has swag, whatever. I'm telling you, and I'm saying this because I'm not the only person. I know that there are lots of people who are like me, who used to go on dates for pity's sake, or go on dates in order to mask. They would get into relationships, and some people would full on get married and have children with people, masking as a part of their camouflage, which is one of the most horrible things I can think of right now. And I'm so grateful that I had this chronic burnout at the time that I had it. I'm so, so grateful. It was a horrible experience. I don't wish it on my worst enemy, but I'm so grateful I had it. Because if I did not have it, I'm pretty sure I probably would have allowed myself to get pushed into a more serious relationship as part of my camouflage. And I'm pretty sure I would have allowed myself to be forced into getting married to somebody that I do not feel even an inkling of attraction for. Forget love. And I would have had children with that, and I would have started building a life with that person. But I'm also sure that if I had done that, maybe at this point I would have had the burnout, and I would have maybe gotten a divorce, or I would have run away and maybe abandoned the family or something. I'm pretty sure something crazy would have happened by now. So I'm so grateful that God allowed that burnout to happen before I could complicate my life in the way I knew I would have allowed my life to be complicated, in a way that could not be reversed. There are some things that once you take that step, you can never reverse them. I'm so grateful. Another thing I'm going to talk about among the steps, like the major steps I took, like there are lots of steps I took to help myself with what I was experiencing, but I'm only talking about the major steps I took that have influenced my life up to this point. Like the final thing I'm going to say is that I told myself, remember I told myself, I said I was going to not do anything that made me very uncomfortable. Well, after I graduated, I still did not know what I was going to do. So after I did my mandatory 1 year youth service where I practiced vet medicine, I then thought, okay, everybody was coming back to do their masters, so I thought I would go back and do my masters. That maybe by the time I finished my masters, something would have clicked in my head. And at that point, I was already starting to feel better about myself. The depression was going down a little bit. The anxiety had been reducing a little bit. I wasn't feeling as numb as I used to. I wasn't feeling as stressed or as emotionally distressed as I used to. I used to wake up and I would not feel like I hated my life. Um, so those things were already reducing, and I'd already discovered Islam. I'd already like started praying regularly and reciting Quran, and it was bringing me a lot of like succor. So I thought, okay, I should be able to handle it. So I started the master's program, got admission, started the master's program, and all those feelings started coming back, and I would feel overwhelmed. Like, yeah, there was a lot of work, yeah, but like work isn't a problem for me, but I was feeling very overwhelmed, and the anxiety started coming back in full force. Like the anxiety, like not the regular kind of worry type anxiety that I always felt. I'm talking about the real, like the anxiety that makes you feel like your heart is about to jump out of your chest and your chest is getting tighter and tighter. That was the kind of anxiety I was feeling, and that in relation to my schoolwork and going to school at all, and then the emotion, like the physical health came back. But this time the physical health was even worse, right? Like it was horrible. It was horrible. I could not sleep. I started having insomnia. Normally I used to oversleep. This time around, I started having insomnia little by little. And then it's like the health issues was just crazy. I would fall sick today. I would use medication for like, 2 weeks. I would get better. There was a time it was during Ramadan. We had to fast. I could not fast because like the first 2 weeks I was sick, and then I would, have see the doctor, use medication. I would get better, and then my female cycle that is always like regular as clockwork, it became wonky, and everything was just crazy. And I sat down one day. I'd been thinking about it, and at that point, my supervisor was talking to me about working on my thesis, starting to work on my thesis and all of that. And I was not committing to anything. I was not committing to a topic. I just kept putting it off. I was like, yes, yes, of course, I'll get to it. And then she'll talk to me about it. I'm like, yeah, yeah, I'll get to it. And then one day, I got home. I went home. I had to leave school late at night, like in the evening, and it started raining. And it rained on me till I got home. And then when I got home that night, I had to think about what I was doing. I was like, look at me. Like I've been drenched in the rain. I probably am going to come down with a cold. And I don't even enjoy what I'm going to do. Like it's not as if I went to do something that I'm enjoying, or that I feel at least comfortable about, for me to be able to say, okay. Like if I feel comfortable about it, I should be able to say, okay, I'm experiencing this stresses, but it's okay because at the end of the road, I'll be able to get something I want. Like I don't even know if I want it. I don't feel an affinity for anything I'm doing. So what am I doing? Why am I spending my life like this? And then I told myself I was going to stop. And so the next day I just called my supervisor. I told her, look, I'm taking a break from the program, this, that, or the other. And that was how I quit the master's program. And then a couple of years after, I tried, maybe working for a vet clinic, but immediately I stepped into the vet clinic to even talk about, working there, the anxiety came back. And this was a full-on anxiety attack. I literally had an anxiety attack. And I just, I don't even know what I said. I just did spoke in the way I wanted to speak. I gave them my documents and then I walked out. And I was praying to God that they should not call me back because I knew if they called me back, I was not going to go. I would not answer. So I made the decision that I was not going to go into a career path that did not make me feel fulfilled. And at the very least, even if I was going to go into a career path or do something with my life, it was going to be something that did not make my chest tight. That was one of the major decisions I made. And I am so grateful for that decision that I have made up till today. Up till today. Now, it's not the problem is not that vet medicine had a problem or I wasn't suited for it or I went through school fine. I never failed a single course. And I always had yes, I wasn't applying myself a lot because I was bored most of the time and I was unhappy most of the time and I was unsettled. But I never I used to get above average marks most of the time. Sometimes I'll get really high marks. So it wasn't like I was not able to handle the program at all. No, that was not the issue. The issue was that I was going through something and I needed to pay attention to myself for the first time in my life. And I'm so grateful that I did. All the steps that I took helped me in getting over that burnout, in getting over the consequences of the burnout. And I'm so grateful for them. Because even though I was playing things by ear, it turned out that all those things that I did, all those changes that I made to my life were the things that I needed in my life. Were the things that I needed that I should have been doing right from start, but I did not do. And so it was late, but it was not too late. So I'm so grateful for that. And I just want to take this opportunity to tell anyone who is experiencing some of those things that I experienced or something maybe different that yes, your body is telling you that you should have been paying attention to your body long before now. It's late right now. That's why you're experiencing some of the things you're experiencing, but it is not too late. And if I could do it all by myself while feeling alone, while feeling confused, while not knowing what I was doing, while not talking to anyone about it, while not finding any content that could tell me about what I was going through and what I was going to do about it. If I could do that on my own, then you can do it too, and it can definitely work for you. All you have to do is just pay attention to yourself. And it turns out that even though I only realized that I was autistic a few months ago, I my life did not change all that much after my autism discovery because the things that I started doing when I had my chronic burnout are the things that I would have started doing if I had discovered I was autistic. But I was already doing them anyway. So my life did not change all that much. I am still taking care of myself the way I used to take care of myself. I still try to avoid large crowds. I still don't pretend to find somebody's joke funny. I still say my mind. Sometimes I keep it things to myself because yes, sometimes I still have to mask, but I caution myself when I mask too much. I know how to regulate myself. I know how to, recharge my social battery. And when I become exhausted, I know how to take care of myself. I know when I isolate, when that urge comes to me to self-isolate, I don't have a choice. I do have to isolate. And I don't seek to change that part of myself because I feel like that's what my body needs to get better. Like my body knows what it needs. All I have to do is just listen and go along with it if it's possible. Okay? Whenever I talk to somebody and they make me feel uncomfortable, I don't talk to them. I try as much as possible, even when things are difficult, to have some sort of relationship with God, even if things are hectic and there's a lot going on in my life. I try as much as some sort, whether I pray or whether I can take the time to recite some Quran because it makes me feel solace, it makes me feel soothed, it just gives me peace. Like I said, my body started responding, I started getting healed. My depression, I've not, like I mentioned in my Get to Know Me video, it has been 5 years since I felt any bone deep depression that made me feel sad. like that the way I used to. It has been maybe about 5 years since I felt that kind of anxiety that makes my chest tight. Has been about 5 years. I've not felt that kind of anxiety. I've not had an anxiety attack since then. I'm so grateful for that. My allergies have become so much better. I don't wake up anymore with like welts on my body or with hives, like hives on my body just itching for no reason. I don't do that. Like that doesn't happen to me anymore. Last time I had that kind of anxiety, that kind of allergic reaction was because I actually ate something I was allergic to. It wasn't because I'm under stress so much so that I just went to sleep and I woke up and my feet were swollen and I've got hives all over my body or I've got welts that are painful and itchy. Like that doesn't happen. I still get pimples from here sometimes, but the kind of pimples I have, they are child's play compared to the pimples I used to have back then. I'm talking about like serious pimples where your face will be itching, but like there's no space to scratch, like that kind. Oh my god, it was just horrible. I'm saying all of this in a raw format because I know there is somebody that is experiencing something that I was experiencing. And they don't know who to talk to about it. Or they are talking to somebody and they're talking to the wrong person who will tell them you are not sick by the grace of God. Stop saying positive, negative things to yourself. Say only positive things. Like that kind of behavior is not helpful at all. It's not helpful at all. So, if you're in that situation, I feel your pain and I'm sending positive energy to you and I hope you're going to get better. And I know if you just stick with it, you will get better very, very soon. Okay, and you will have your own story of joy to tell. Okay, so I'm so grateful. I never could go to therapy. Even if somebody had pointed me in the right direction, even if I had spoken to somebody and they told me, okay, go to therapy, I don't think I would have been able to access that facility because it's not, there's not a lot of therapy going on here on this continent. I mean, here and there are, but before you would even have access to them, you would do like this. So I never got to go to therapy. I never got access to anti-anxiety medications, no antidepressants, nothing like that. I'm so grateful for that too because medications scare me. Like they really, really scare me. And I probably would have had to because I'm scared of drugs. I'm also scared of the side effects of drugs. They make me feel wonky. They make me feel like I'm talking about even like regular drugs, like maybe anti-malarial medications or antibiotics and all of that. They just make you feel sick and they have this aftertaste in your mouth and all of that. Yuck. I hate it. So I'm so grateful I do not even have to take, all those anti-anxiety medications and all of that. So, so grateful. So, like, you can do it. You can do it. It's possible. And just make changes to your life and stick with those changes. And like I said, discovering I have autism, there are just some things that the discovery has done for me. That's helped me to understand finally all the things that have been happening in my life. That's helped me understand that what I went through was actually autistic burnout. And so if I don't want it to happen again, obviously I already was living my life in a way that indicated I did not want that to happen. But now that knowledge has been further reinforced. I know if I don't want it to happen again, I should not push myself beyond my capabilities. I also understand now whenever I become emotionally exhausted from social interactions through the week, and particularly when those social interactions are difficult ones, where there are some people that just drain the energy from you, or they just say bad things to you because they are your superiors at work or things of that sort, and you cannot respond, and you decide not to be around them. There are some people like that, and because of that, the emotional drainage becomes stronger and more rapid than usual, than just when you have usual emotional interactions or social interactions. And so I would have like shutdowns, like autistic shutdowns, or light burnouts or things of that sort, but nothing to the extent of that chronic burnout. And I know, okay, I'm going to take the weekend taking care of myself. I'm going to take the weekend to try to recuperate and get back in the right frame of mind. And sometimes the weekend is enough. Sometimes the weekend is not enough. I have to take days, even like during the week. I would, go to school, go to work, but I might not be at my full capacity. I might still be, I might be here and there. Like my concentration may be off, my memory may be off, things of that sort. I may still be having some of those like anxiety, not anxiety, but allergic reactions and all that. Because one of the things that come up is that whenever I become stressed like that emotionally, then I get the physical health challenges to go along with them. So I've got peptic ulcer, right? And so that's when I feel the ulcer flare up when I get stressed in that manner. My allergies also crop up when I get stressed in that manner. And the moment I start getting better, you'll see that I won't need to withdraw anymore. I won't need, like, my allergies will just go down by themselves. The ulcer flare up will go down by itself, things of that. And that's when I know I'm getting better. But yeah, I know how to take care of myself now, and I'm grateful for that. So, and also when people make me feel like I'm slow, like I'm like there's something wrong with me, when people make, there are some ways people treat you that make you feel as if there's something wrong with you. When people treat me that way, and I start thinking maybe there's something wrong with me, maybe I'm dumb, maybe I'm dull, I remember that, okay, there's nothing wrong with me. I'm actually an intelligent person, as evidenced by XYZ, and the people that who are treating me in that way, the way they are treating me and they are making me feel this way about myself, reflects judgment upon them. It shows that they are not nice people. It doesn't reflect judgment upon me. I'm just being me. I'm just being myself. So maybe I do not understand a social cue. Maybe I did not understand what this woman meant when she said this. Instead of me responding in this manner, which was how I interpreted her statement, maybe I'm not facially expressive, and maybe I think I'm expressing this emotion while I'm actually expressing this emotion. Maybe the reaction I had was not what they expected me to have, or maybe I'm not, yeah, maybe I'm not all of that, but I'm just being me, and there's nothing I can do about it. And even if there were, I am not going to do anything about it because I have tried my whole life. There was a time when I tried to react in the way I thought people wanted me to react, and it did not work out well. And so I'm not going to put myself back in that place. I will not. So they're just going to have to take me the way I am. And I know I am not. Dull, I know I am not. Demented the way they want me to think I am. And again, if somebody treats me unkindly because they don't understand that there are people who are different, then that reflects judgment upon them. It tells us the kind of person they are. It doesn't reflect judgment upon me because I did not do anything wrong. I have to keep reminding myself of things like that when, things like that happen. Unfortunately, um, it just sometimes when things like that happen, it makes me, like, the way people talk about neurotypicals versus neuroatypicals, and they talk about how neurotypicals are this and that. Like, I'm not one to encourage divisionism. I'm not one to encourage, that segregation and the, like, neurotypical versus neuroatypical wars. But sometimes the way they treat you for being different, you can really understand, you can really see why people like go as neurotypicals the way they do and talk about them, because they just make life so difficult for people who are different. They make life so, and they don't have any idea what we go through as people who are neurodivergent. They have no idea what we go through in our lives, with our physical health, with our mental health, with our emotional health, with our lives in total, simply because we've spent our entire lives trying to conform to the way neurotypical people want us to be, and trying to make them feel comfortable when they're interacting with us, that we forget to take care of ourselves and to give ourselves what we need. Like, they have no idea. And it can be so painful sometimes, but c'est la vie. And I'm going to say right now, there are some people who, when they experience their own burnout or symptoms of it, they would have gone to, they would have chosen coping mechanisms that were unhealthy, that were destructive. It's also valid because I can tell you right now, those of us who did not choose self-destruct mechanisms to cope, I can say like 90% of that was luck. Okay, I'm just going to say it for myself because I don't want to speak for anybody else. I'm just going to say it for myself. The fact that I did not end up choosing self-destruct mechanisms to cope with what I was going through was just good fortune. It was just good fortune because it's not like we have a manual that says, oh, if you are neurodivergent and you are not aware of it, or even if you are aware of it and you're going through a lot of stuff, you're going through anxiety, you're going through this, here are some of the things you can do. Here are some of the things you must not do. If you do this, it's bad. If you do this, it's like most people just want to get over it. People just want to let things hurt less. Okay, that's just what they want. And so lots of people, go a different way and it ruins their lives. Like, it ruins the rest of their lives. Some people get hooked on hard drugs and they never come out of it. Some people go into, like, they go into relationships that then color the rest of their lives, and they cannot, like, there are things they do that they cannot change. Some people commit to things that they cannot change and then they regret it after. Like, lots of things just happen. Some people you become alcoholics and they start having health challenges from there, and they cannot get over it. Some people contract diseases from being in relationships with people who are not careful. Let's just put it that way. People who are not very nice people, and those people give them stuff that they have to be taken care of, like they have to be using medication for the rest of their lives. That happens too. And yes, we cannot look at them and say, "Oh, shame on you, you did this." No, people just do things that they because they just want to be able to survive. Okay, and so we're not going to be ones to look down on people and say, "Oh, this person did this person did that. That's bad for you. It was a bad choice." It was. Mm-mm, mm-mm. I don't judge people when it comes to that. I don't judge people. Period. I'm just grateful that I did not go down that path, any of those paths. So grateful for that. So anyway, let me know what you guys think. Thank you so much for watching this video to the very end. It's a very long video. I hope somebody is actually going to watch it.